All right, hello everybody. Welcome to our next episode. Today we're doing a battle in Lower Canada. Battlefield set up here. It's battlefield number 70 in the third edition of the Warfare in the Age of Reason rule book. There's a two-level hill, and then there's a hill that pretty much goes the length of the table on that side. There was a road that came down. I made a cutout because these roads don't lay very well, on those, when you put the styrofoam underneath, they don't lay very good. So I basically made it a cutout. I did add this field and that set of woods over there. I'm going to call those light woods, just to kind of put a little variety on the terrain. Those will be considered heavy woods, and this is a small town. And one thing you might notice is it's a little bit of a smaller table because we're going to be using my 15mm figures for this battle. Okay, the English are attacking Lower Canada from New England. They're attacking with 2 regular SP, 2 Colonial SP, and 1 Native Ally SP. I've doubled up the number of SP available, kind of make it a more enjoyable battle. So what that leaves us is we've got 2 British line infantry, British grenadier, and a heavy battery and a brigade. We've got the Virginia provincials, 16 castings of New England, or that's the New York militia, and then a half unit of New England militia with a medium battery attached. We've got Robert's Rangers and the 55th Foot in a brigade together. They've got a light battery attached. And then the Native Ally unit is split into 2 12 casting units. One of them represents the Mohawk, and then the other is just a generic Native Ally unit. And then they also have a subgeneral present. General Wolfe is present, and this represents General Wolfe. Taking a look at the French, they had 1 regular SP and 1 Colonial SP to defend. They also got 1 Militia SP to defend with them, and they rolled to have 2 Native Ally SPs. So what we have here, the regular SP are made up of these 2 line units. Half of the Colonial SP is made up with this militia unit here. The other half is supposed to be a native unit, but in order to kind of help me differentiate it, I used the Coeur de Bois figures to represent the native unit. That's a campaign SP figure. But otherwise they operate and work the same as and have the same route grade and same stuff like that. The 2 militias back here, I've got the French Grenadiers to represent part of the militia unit, and then this unit, it's Campania de la Marine. I'm going to use the unit with the flag to represent the campaign unit, and then the unit without the flag to represent the SP unit. And then for my Native Allies, we got Micmac, Abenaki, and then some generic Native Allies. Heavy gun, they didn't have a French one painted up, so they're borrowing a British gun. So heavy gun is going to be the British, the French medium, and then the French light is attached to that unit there. And there is no sub-general present, so this guy in blue will be the army commander. Here is the situation of the setup at the start of the battle. British provincials cover the right flank with their medium gun. The heavy gun is there with the regulars in line there. The lights acting as a screen to their front, with the Native Allies to the far left flank. The French heavy and medium battery rest atop the second level of the hill, flanked on either side by the regular infantry. Militia SP cover the town. The remaining unit in the rear as rear support. All of the native troops are on the right flank. I should also point out, because it's a defensive battle, the French also have 12 centimeters of breastworks. All right, completion of turn 1 movement. Basically, the British heavy or regulars didn't move, except for the artillery. The heavy battery moved up because they were the first card pulled, but they were back there. Basically, everybody else moved up, and then the French Indians advanced up as well. Okay, before we move on to turn 2 movement, we need to make a check for the Native Americans. So for each Native unit, I'll roll a d6. For the French, if they get a 1 to 4, they operate and control. If they get a 5 or a 6, they basically will charge any enemy in sight. And for the British, they stay in control on a 1, 2, or 3, and then they auto charge on a 4, 5, or 6. So we'll just basically go left to right, and then 4. So here's the first one, 2. So good, good, good. Oop, he's going to be an auto charge, that far one there, and in the back here. Oh, he's going to advance as well. Now rolling for the British, those two over there are going to go left and right. Auto charge. And the one on the right is good, or in command. All right, this guy's advancing into here. He's going to fire on a charge. We'll see how close he gets. 3 is going to be point blank range, morale grade 2. All right, this unit is going to fire on the charge. He gets 3 dice, 2 for the morale grade, 2 for point blank, but -1 because he's shooting at skirmishers. It's going to be 1 casualty. Now the thing is, normally this unit would have to make a morale check, but because basically he got that auto charge, it's kind of like a bloodlust type thing. So they pass all morale checks. So it's going to go, now this guy has to make a morale check. So this unit has a base 2 morale dice, +1 for flank, -1 for being charged. Yeah, he's going to stand, so they will go into melee. All right, now this unit also has the auto charge. There's 2 potential targets. I'm going to roll evens on a die roll. It goes for artillery. Odds is going to go for the Native Americans. Odds going for the Native Americans. All right, we'll see how far away this unit is when he takes the charge. 1, so that's going to be point blank range. Now this unit is going to fire on the charge, but also supporting units can also fire on the charge. So the artillery is going to take an opportunity fire because he was unlimbered to shoot here. And these guys are going to take an opportunity fire as well. They can shoot as well. I'm going to give these guys the cover because they're kind of shooting from within the woods. So they'll have that effect. So we'll have 3 different fires on that guy. And again, because he's auto charging, he's going to automatically press the morale check. But we'll see what happens. Much like the other, 2 for the base, 2 for point blank, -1 for versus skirmish units. And that's going to be 1 casualty on the chargers. Now the artillery blasting allows those guys coming in. There's going to be a total of 4 dice, 3 for the base, 2 for point blank, 1 for first fire. There's going to be -1 versus for opportunity fire, and -1 for firing at skirmishers. And we need multiples of 12. Got just 1 casualty from that. And this guy's shooting back. It's going to just be 1 die. The previous was the 3, but that's also going to be -1 for the opportunity fire, and then -1 for the woods. 4-0. These guys, on the other hand, I rolled aggressively. I rolled to see how aggressive they were going to be. They rolled a 6, so they're going to be pretty aggressive, and they're going to charge those guys there. But it's going to be a normal charge, not an auto charge, so they don't get all the bonuses that these guys would get. First things first, we're going to roll for the Rangers to see at what range they hold the fire. And they're morale grade 3 units, so they need a 1 to 4 to be point blank. 6, so it's going to be close. So in the end, these guys are going to be shooting 3 dice at them. 3 for the base, +1 for close range, -1 for firing at skirmish units. Wow, that's going to be 2 units, or 2 casualties. Rolling around for these guys is a base 2. Amazingly enough, these guys are within charge range. Skirmish units have an incredibly long, far charge range. So they are able to give rear support for them even. And, but it's -1 for being fired at during, by charged units. So 2d6, they are good. They're going to go in. Now the Rangers have to roll. Base 3, -1 for being charged, 2 dice. They are fine. One thing I forgot to do is roll that guy's morale for being charged. So it's base 2, +1 for flank, +1 for rear, -1 for being charged. They don't have enough casualties yet. Yeah, they're fine. All right, this is the situation after turn 2 movement. Basically, those guys advanced, these guys moved up, and then there's some repositioning here, to mostly just anticipation in case this fight goes bad. So this heavy gun is at extreme range with that skirmish unit there, so my son's gonna roll 3d6. So hold on a second.
I hope it's hits, I guess, I don't know.
Multiples of 12. What do we got?
6, 4, and 2.
So that's exactly 12, so you got 1 hit. Good job.
Yeah.
Unit has to make a morale check. It's base 2. I'm giving it flank support and rear support, so 4d6.
1, 2, 5, and 4.
So there's total more than 6, so it definitely passes. Do this melee first. The French are going to be the blue dice. The British are going to be the green dice. Basically, I think the French have 5 or 6 dice, whereas the English have 3 or 4 dice. I can't remember. The French do have more. So here we're going to get another roll. Multiples of 6 cause hits. And we'll do the math. So in this one, the French crushed the British, causing 4 hits to the British only causing 1. So that is a difference of 3. I need to figure out how bad these guys got beat. It's a d6 plus the difference in the melee, which was 3. That's going to be 6. This results in these guys falling back a full move broken. And these guys basically occupy the space, moved up to occupy the space. Now there's a special rule. With the special rule, basically they're plundering the victims of their victory. And so they do not pursue, they just hold in place where they're at. All right, quick update. Found in a previous edition of the rules that it says mass formations frontage counts as half of what their actual castings are. So they actually do get full numbers for the actual figures. So each side will roll an additional d6. Now, the English had 10, so they're on their green die. If they get a 2, they'll cause another hit. The French had a full 24, so they need to get a 6 to get another hit. So let's see if there's any more casualties. So that will definitely be another hit for the English against the French, but no additional hit against the English. That will change the results, and I'll get that taken care of here in a second. So the base with the change is it made it a full normal move broken instead of a full charge move broken, so I just backed them up a little bit. This will still stay where they're at. They just take the ground and hold. Looking at this melee here, British get 7 dice, French get 4 dice. Now we have pretty much the same results in reverse. So the English will take 2, the French will take 4, and we'll roll a d6, add 2 to see how bad the French have to fall back. That's 3, 5. It's pretty much going to be the same. Fall back, full move, normal move broken. Next, we've got this unit can move half of its remaining move, and it's going to break through charge into the artillery there. So the artillery needs to make a check. Morale grade 2. It does have rear support. It does not have flank support. So there's 3 dice, but it's being charged 2d6 on the die roll. He's going to stand. All right. In this battle, the frontage would have to be accounted for, but they are close enough that there is no penalty or bonus for one side or the other. So the artillery is going to be rolling 3 dice. The natives are going to be rolling 7 dice. So the artillery did cause 1 casualty against the Indians, but they took 4 in return, which basically wipes them out. At this point, the natives will just plunder in place. During this battle, the Rangers do get a frontage bonus on them, so they get 2 dice. So the Rangers get 7 dice to the French 5 dice, because these the French aren't on a bloodlust charge. They don't get the bonus to the bloodlust charge. So let's see what we got. So each does 4 casualties to the other. So this will end up going into the next turn. All right, it's the start of turn 3. I flipped my tokens over on the 2 tokens. These 2 units, they have to basically spend a turn doing what they're doing, so they basically can't move. That guy's locked in melee. So I'm going to roll for those 2 to see if they will act under orders or if they're going to charge basically that guy. So these guys in the back first. Nope, they're going. And now those guys. They're going as well. So basically those 2 are going to charge him right there. That's going to be pretty gross. These guys, they could still react, so they're going to try to fire on the charge, and we'll see which one goes first. So, or see what modifiers they get, because against multiple targets, they can choose the best modifier. So the blue die will be for him, and the green die will be for him. It's going to be point blank range. Actually, it's point blank for both of them. So I'll move them up, and then we'll do the shooting. All right, this guy still has more than 6 castings, so he still gets the full dice. So 2 for the base, 2 for morale grade, -1 for shooting at skirmishers. It's going to be 2 for base, 2 for point blank, -1. So it's just 1 casualty. Evens will be against that unit, odds will be against that unit. Even, so the casualty applied to him. So those guys automatically pass the morale check to come in. This guy needs to make a morale check to see if he stays. It's 2 for the morale grade, no rear support, no flank support, -1 for being charged. So it's just 1 die. See what he gets. 4. Okay, so this is what we have. This unit fell back a normal move, disordered, facing the enemy. This unit that was here had enough movement to continue, so it continued to make contact. That unit did not, so it stopped on the space of the previous attacker to fulfill that plundering of the remains rule. So these guys are stuck in melee now. Moving over to here, there's not really much we could do. He's not really going to be able to get on the flank, and him charging into the rear doesn't add anything. So he's basically just going to stay in position to cover this going bad. So we'll move on to normal movement. Movement is complete. The provincials continue to move up. Ran the medium gun up to start kind of getting on the French regulars. The heavy gun was here, but it was out of range. So I kind of pulled him back to wait until this mess gets cleared out. I moved the regulars over here kind of in a position to put them in position so that way they can defend against these guys here. So next we'll move into artillery. All right, the French heavy battery is gonna shoot at extreme range against those lights there. It's 2d6 needing boxcars to hit. They don't hit. French medium gun is gonna fire that medium gun there. Base 3, +1 first fire, -2 extreme range, -1 firing at a skirmish target. Needing boxcars, does not get it. All right, that's it for artillery fire, no hits. There are a couple units that could potentially be in skirmish, in small arms range, but because they're locked in melee, they will not apply. So we'll start with these guys first. All right, doing the melee here. The French get 9 dice, basically morale grade numbers, charging versus a retiring unit versus they do outnumber them by 1.5, and they also get their impetus bonus. The English are defending with 3 dice. Go ahead and roll over here. And then, so the French win. They wipe them out to a man. And the British at least do cause 2 casualties on the French. So the French will hold their spot and plunder the dead. Doing this charge here. So basically it's just going to be numbers of morale grade. They aren't going to get a charge bonus. It's just going to be 3 dice for them, 1 for their numbers, and then 2 for the morale grade. The Rangers will get 3 for the morale grade, 2 for their numbers, 2 for frontage, and I went ahead and attached their brigade commander, which is a half die commander. So I need to roll a 1, 2, or 3 for this to count. 6, so this die will not count, so we'll just go ahead and remove that. And then we'll go ahead and roll the pool and see what we've got. Again, we'll roll over here. So the Rangers take 1 casualty, but the Indians take 5 casualties. Doesn't quite wipe them out, but it's close. First things first, does the commander become a casualty? Need to get a 1. Nope, he's safe. Next, we will roll to see how bad he falls back. It's going to be, there was a difference of 4 between the casualties cost. It'll be a 1d6 plus 4. 4, 8. That guy's going to rout. He's just going to end up occupying the position. So here's the situation at the end of turn 3. There was the rout movement with the rout chip. Because that unit was involved in 2 consecutive melees, he's got a disordered chip on him. Otherwise, we'll flip the chips over to the other sides and need that ones come off to go to the next lowest. And then we will move on with turn 3. Looks like we do have some potential activity. All right, on to turn 4. First thing, we'll go ahead and check these guys for controllability. 1, so he stays in control. Stays in control. Stays in control. Everybody stays in control. So these guys are basically plundering, so they can't move this turn. This guy can move, and he'll try to make a charge against him. So this unit needs to make an initiative check. Base 2, +1 because he's charging the rear, -1 because he's skirmish. So he needs to get a 1 or a 2 to be able to charge. 3, he does not charge, but he can still move half movement. All right, post movement, Grenadiers moved up to close range. Skirmishers came over here to kind of cover the flank. This guy about faced, that guy about faced. Those guys advanced. So, oh, and there's the light artillery coming across. We will move to artillery fire. All right, the French heavy guns are going to shoot at the British heavy gun as it's advancing. That is not going to be a hit. French medium gun is going to attack the British medium gun. That is not going to be a hit. British medium gun is going to fire at this French infantry. That does result in 1 hit. British Grenadiers are going to fire at them. That's going to look like 2 hits. They're going to fire back with 3 dice. 2 for base, 1 for close. That's 1 hit. All right, Rangers are going to fire there. They only get 1 die because they're disordered and they moved. No hits. They're going to shoot back with 2 dice. -1 because they're firing at skirmishers, so it's still going to be 1 die. Ooh, that is a hit. Doing morale, this infantry needs to take a morale check for being shot by artillery. Base 2 morale, +1 flank, +1 rear support. Only got 3 dice, but we'll see how it goes. Oh, yeah, they're more than fine, even with one die short. Roberts Rangers will roll. They're down to 50%, so it's a -2. They do have rear support, but they're disorganized, so they only get one die. 6, they hold firm just fine. All right, these guys are going to roll. The morale grade 2 +1. They do have rear support, but they're at 25%, so -1. Oh yeah, they're fine. This unit needs to try to remove a route marker, so they need to get a 1 or a 2 on a single die roll. Nope, they will make another route move. That's the conclusion of turn 4. That unit just pulled back to there. Now we'll move on to turn 5. All right, turn 5. Let's see if these 3 guys and even that guy will follow orders. So him, he will follow orders. Him, he will follow orders. And then that guy, oh, he's gonna go. He is gonna charge. And then looking at that guy up there, 4, he is gonna charge. All right, this guy's coming up here. He is going to stand and shoot with, see what range you'll take him at. 3, that's gonna be point blank range. Okay, he's gonna be rolling 2 dice plus 2 for point blank, or 2 for morale grade, 2 for point blank, -1 for shooting at skirmish. That's going to be 2 hits. Brigade commander is attached, so we'll go ahead and roll for brigade, the casualty 1 or 2. No, brigade commander's fine. That guy automatically passes the morale grid due to the bloodlust. He has to make a morale check. It's 2 for the base. That guy's actually within charge range for rear support, so 3, but -1 for 25%. -1 for being charged. 1, ooh, he routes. So this is where everybody ended up after all the movement and stuff. This guy carried out the rest of his movement, just continuing to come forward. Now we'll move on to this guy up here. All right, we'll use the front corner of the artillery piece as a measuring point for where they start the charge. But anyways, where are these guys going to fire on the charge? 1, that's gonna be point blank. Okay, after all the dice pooled up, 3 for the base, +2 for point blank, -1 for disordered, -1 for 6 or less, -1 for shooting at skirmishers. They have 2 dice. That's going to be 1 casualty on those guys. All right, for the morale check, he's got rear support, does not have flank support. Base 3, +1 rear support, -1 for being disordered, -2 because he's down to 50%, so it's just going to be a 1d6. A 4. All right, so this guy fell back, disordered 1 normal move facing the enemy. He's going to continue a breakthrough, essentially. And so this guy needs to make a check. Now, the morale for him, he's +2 for morale. He does have rear support, so he is fine. So they'll just come up and make contact. All right, that's it for the convoluted charging moves. Now we'll move on to normal movement. Now, one thing I did forget to do is I did forget to roll for his rally. Oh, you got 1 casting, you rolled to rally, so it becomes broken. Okay, end of turn 5 movement. Not a lot of movement on the right flank. Basically, the 1 militia unit just formed up. The heavy gun moved up to the hill, unlimbered. Basically, the regulars, because of this weird situation here, they kind of put themselves in a position to be able to defend against that fairly readily. Basically, with the assumption that this attack might go against them, and so they're in a position to provide a front against that. So, okay, the medium gun here, taking a pop at the unlimbered heavy gun. Medium boxcars does not get it. And the heavy gun will be shooting, this time with 3 dice. That will just cause 1 hit. British medium gun again firing at the infantry unit. Just gets 1 hit. For the infantry unit, taking the artillery hit, flanks and rear supported, base morale grade 3, so 4 dice. He's good. Battery, on the other hand, base morale grade 2. It does not have secure flanks. It is rear supported, but it is missing 25%, so back down to 2 dice. 4. So it was a fallback disorganized facing the enemy, a normal move, so that they fell back there. All right, looking at this May, basically the Indians have 7 dice. They've got the +1 impetus for charging over 2 centimeters. They've got the +2 for the bloodlust. The 55th Light Foot, they've got 6. Basically, morale grade numbers, and then they get the frontage bonus against those guys. So here we go. They each caused 3 hits against the other, so that will take the melee into another round. Looking at the results of turn 6, still kind of got this jumbled mess over here. I don't think it's going to be too much longer before that gets completed and cleaned up. But moving on to the next turn 6, these guys rolled a rally. Nope, they will fall back another move. All right, so that guy routed, and that's where he ended up. Now we're going to do some control checks for the Native Americans. This guy really can't see anybody, doesn't have anybody in range to see, so he won't have to check. He will have to check, especially against him, but he's going to charge up to join into that melee there, and that's pretty much an automatic. He can just go right in. So what we want to do is we want to check for a control check for him, as well as making a charge check if we need to. So here's the control check, 1. So he's okay as far as that goes. So now he needs to make a charge check, an initiative check. That's going to be a 3. That is going to be no, so he won't be charging. So the Grenadiers are going to go in and assist. So there we go. Now, I think in light of things, because it has to start the turn overlapped, I think, as opposed to at the point of contact be overlapped. But it started the turn overlapped, so I'm going to say when it comes to melee, that guy's going to get a flank, but he's also going to have to deal with the fact that he split up with him right there too. So, all right. End of turn 6. Basically, the French, Native Americans kind of restructure inside the woods here. British unit advanced up just to within range of visibility. They're still outside close range. Not a lot of movement there. That artillery piece did prolong forward just to get them a little closer, so when they shoot, they'll have the movement penalty for that. Yeah, the light infantry brigade was the last one to go, so I forgot to move the light gun up to there. So that's it. Now we're moving on to artillery. This French battery is firing there. It's now at long range, but because it's artillery unlimbered, it's still only 2 dice. So looking for boxcars. That is not going to do it. All right, the heavy gun is going to fire at the British heavy artillery, and because the heavy artillery over here is limbered, it counts as a form target, so there is no penalty for it being skirmish. That looks like it's going to cause 1 hit. British medium gun going to return fire here. Still long range, and it also moved. No hit. All right, now we need to roll morale for the heavy gun. There is no small arms fire to do, so it's just the heavy gun here. Base morale grade 2. You could generously say that This skirmish infantry unit is within charge distance of the rear of the artillery, so you could say it gets a +1 for rear support. But it's going to be a -2 for having 50% lost, and -1 for disorder, so it's 0 dice. So it's going to roll 1d6. Ooh, very good, it stays. Here I've got the pools out for that infantry unit and then that infantry unit. And then that unit is split between these two, and I added the specific outflank modifiers specifically just to that number. This guy, because the flank lines were going this way, he didn't have them when he initiated the charge, so I didn't give him a flank bonus. But I mean, you can see foreign versus skirmish, outnumber, frontage, all that stuff more than makes up for that. So we'll do the light infantry. This extra die here, I went ahead and said screw it. He would have attached, the brigade commander would attach the light infantry. So 1, 2, 3 gets that 3. So this extra 3 will apply. So we'll need to remember that. But we'll go ahead and roll this pool here. See what happens. All right, rolling a d6 for the leader. 4. Leader is captured. In all honesty, because the Native Americans captured him, he probably wouldn't be captured, he'd probably be scalped. But that's neither here nor there for the moment. Okay, so we'll roll the other one. And in fact, you know what? I'm going to say, yeah, that leader, he wouldn't be captured. He'd be dead. So that leader's dead. And here's the dice roll for the second half of the melee. We'll add them up. So the Grenadiers just took 1 casualty, but they caused 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 against there. And I think with the other 2 that was already inflicted upon them, I think that's pretty much going to wipe that unit out. And so no, actually they weren't wiped out. They had 7 total casualties inflicted upon them, and they had 8 total on that unit. So they will in fact live for the moment to at least retreat. So first things first, we're going to see what the how they beat those guys. So there's a difference of 2. So it's a d6 plus 2. 2, 4. So as a fallback, half normal move disorganized. So that put them there. But now we're going to see the results of that guy. It's a difference of 4. So that's a 2, makes it a 6. Should be a fallback charge move broken. Fallback charge move broken. These guys can move up the remaining ground, which basically means they could advance and advance the remaining movement, which at that point is just to occupy the ground, essentially is all they had left. The last thing we do at the end of the turn is count casualties, see if we've got any armed withdrawal factors. And both armies have reached 25% at the end of the turn. The French actually have slightly more casualties, so we calculate them first. Now, looking at the French army, they've lost a battery. I'm gonna, even though they had units that kind of retook it, I'm gonna say they've lost it because they don't have control of it, because there's no access to it, and the British have basically free reign to it. So I'm going to give the British that credit. So they've lost an artillery. They have a unit en route. So that's 2 dice that the French would have to roll. But they killed a British commander, so that takes it down to 1 die, so they don't need to roll. So, because there's no way for the French army to get withdraw, so then we move to the British. Now the British, they've got a commander killed, so that's at 1 die. But they captured a battery, which takes it to 0, and there's an enemy unit en route, which takes it to -1. So there's no army withdrawal during this turn. We will check for continue on to next turn, which I believe, if I recall, I kind of lost track of what turn we're on, but I believe we're starting turn 8. So turn 8, actually, I have already pretty much flipped over the chips, and I'm waiting to start to roll the routed unit to see if he rallies. But technically, the first thing we have to do actually is to do a command check, and any units that are out of sight of their command radius would be considered out of command. Now, I've been kind of playing loose, especially the half generals. Their command radiuses are extremely restrictive, but broad scope of things, I'd say these guys are in command. The light infantry, unfortunately, are not out of command. So what that means is they cannot advance this turn. They cannot move closer towards the enemy. They could try, but they'd have to make a die roll. But they're severely reduced in numbers, and they're kind of out of position for that anyways. And then after the command check, then we would replace leaders. And since it was a half leader that was killed, the next leader comes back as a half leader. So basically what happens is one of the company captains here, Robert's Rangers, decides to gets promoted. So that will basically go into effect really next turn. So then we come to this guy, see if he's able to rally. This is his last chance of needing a 1 or a 2. That's a 6. He does not rally. They all get picked up as casualties. All right, so we're going to roll for the Native Americans to see if they bloodlust against one another. This unit knows something's over there, but he doesn't quite see them, so I'm just going to leave the roll to these two here. They all stay calm, so basically they're just going to shoot at each other. All right, after normal movement, these guys moved up, so these are in close range. These guys shifted over to being prepared for next turn. They're going to kind of come over here to protect the flank. Regulars moved up. Heavy gun moved up again, trying to get up there to try to put some pressure on the French artillery. All right, medium gun shooting at the heavy artillery, 2 dice. No hit. Heavy gun's going to fire. That is not a hit, a miss. All right, the heavy gun's going to shoot at that infantry. It's going to be it's a medium gun, 3 dice. 1 hit. And then finally, each of these guys is going to roll a d6 against each other. They're at close range, but they're in woods and skirmish units. Each needing a natural 6. Ooh, the French hit the British for 1. We will go ahead and roll, see if we get the leader as well, needing a 1. Close, but not quite. This unit needs to roll morale. It's going to be 2 for the base, 1 for flank, 1 for rear, -1 for 25%. They are good. This guy's down to 50%. Base 2, no rear or flanks, but he is American Indian Woods and he has wood protection. So they bring it up to 4, but he's 50%, so takes it down to 2. Then he has a half die. This is the blue one's going to be a half die for the commander attached. The half die counts, and he's good. So that's it for the turn 8. We'll do a count. We were at 25% before for both of them, so we know we need to do army withdrawal checks. The French with that 1 rounded unit, that might have put them over 30%, so they'll get some penalties for that. So we'll take a look and see what we got. The French have 2 dice, 30% and a captured battery, but they're subtracting a half die for the killed leader. So let's roll that real quick. If it's a 1, 2, 3, if it counts. A 3. So the French army is going to stay because even if they roll box stars, it's going to subtract from that. So they're not going to get 12 or more. So we're going to go check on the English, and they aren't going to roll either because all they have is the last commander, and that is not a full die. And they haven't reached 30% yet, so they don't have any minuses. All right, on to turn 9. I flipped the tokens, so we're all squared away there. Everybody's in command. And now we'll check these guys for bloodlust. So they're both going to try to kill each other. And then this guy is has a line of sight on that artillery piece, so we're going to check and see if he goes towards the artillery piece. 3, he will not. So basically these two will just kind of charge at each other and meet in the middle. If they are in contact for melee, we'll move on to normal movement. All right, after movement, the grenadiers moved up to kind of provide some cover while the light infantry was able to move up. Otherwise, the medium gun kind of advanced a little bit, but otherwise that was pretty much it. Now move on to artillery. All right, the medium gun and the heavy gun are firing at the British heavy. Medium has 2 dice, the heavy has 3 dice, and the blue ones represent the heavy. It's a miss for both. I'm going to shoot the infantry again because they moved. It's only 2 dice needing boxcars. Did not get it. British heavy is finally able to take a shot, but with its casualties, it's only rolling 2 dice, shooting at the other heavy gun. Nope. So that's it for the artillery fire. All we have is the melee over here. French are rolling 6 dice. The British are rolling 5 dice. Basically, what made the difference was the British had less troops. But they also have a half die for their leader. Let's see if that counts. 3. The 3 does count, so we'll keep that. Otherwise, I'll light them up. All right, the French do 4 on the British do 3 on the French, so the French win. So we're gonna see if the leader becomes a casualty, needing a 1, 2, 3, or 4. 5, he does not, so he's able to escape. But now we will see the results of the fight, difference of 1. So D6 plus 1, 4 becomes a 5. All right, we're at the end of turn 8. French gonna check their numbers. They might be above 40% now, so that would give them 2 dice for casualties. So that might be enough to do it. So we'll take a look. All right, not quite to 40%. They're still 2 casualties away from getting 40%, but they're close. So it's the same dice as before. 30% lost artillery. And they're going to subtract a half die. So roll them all together. Ooh, nope, not quite. The half die did count. So turn 9, we're going to roll for him to see if he charges. He'll probably, if he could charge, go to that guy there. 6, yeah, he's going. All right, the Grenadiers. That is going to be at close range. The British firing on the charge. Looks like it's going to be 2. Again, they automatically pass the morale check, so they're going right in. So they'll connect with melee. And then that's the only charge really that there is, so we'll move on to normal movement next. To roll morale for the Grenadiers. It's going to be base 3 plus 1 for rear support, minus 1 for being charged, and minus 1 for being charged by Native Americans for the first time. So, oh yeah, they're fine. All right, medium and heavy on that heavy. Same as before, 3 and 2, color coded appropriately. Ooh, we did get 1 hit from the heavy. All right, and the medium's gonna fire there. It's just gonna be 3 dice because they didn't move this time. No hit. Okay, and the heavy is gonna fire at that heavy, and it's going to be 2 dice. No hit. Rolling for morale is gonna be 1d6. Let's see if they get it. And it's cocked. Let's do that again. 1. They rout. All right, doing the melee of the Native Americans charging the Grenadiers. It's a lot of dice versus a lot of dice. We'll roll them and figure out what's going on. You could probably guess the Grenadiers won. They caused 5 casualties on the Indians. The Indians did 3, so it's a difference of 2. We'll see what the results are. 3 goes to 5. All right, looking at army withdraw. The French have higher casualties, so they'll check their numbers first. They are at 40%, so they would have 3 dice, but with the British unit en route, that takes it down to 2 dice, but they still have that half dice. So boxcars is what they need to withdraw, minus the odd die for the leader. No boxcars, everything's good. But now we add up the numbers since the French don't withdraw and the British still have to check. Now we add up the numbers for the British. The British, with the enemy en route, they are at 30% casualties. That'd be 2 dice plus the half leader that got killed. So it's 2.5 dice. But because of the captured battery that they have, it knocks it down to 1.5 dice, so they don't even need to roll. All right, so we're on to the next turn, and I ended up deleting about 10 videos because last turn I forgot that this is a British unit, not a French unit. So, I mean, he moved up here to shoot him, which, I mean, he didn't hit him, so whatever. But, you know, because I'm tired and it's the end of the day and it's late at night, I was like, oh, we're going to charge. So he charged, this one casting charged, and like started literally rolling up the entire British flank until they made contact with the Grenadiers, and I realized, oh wait, that's a British unit. But it was an Indian unit, so I mean, and I'm half of a mind to have kept it because it was pretty hilarious, but no. So we are moving to normal movement. All right, normal movement is complete. Regulars, with the loss of the artillery, they've got no choice but to push up. The light infantry moved in to get at those guys, so we've got some artillery and small arms fire to do. And the medium gun did advance as well. They prolonged forward another 2 centimeters. So there's that. So the medium gun's gonna shoot at those guys there. 4 dice. It's in medium range. That is not gonna be enough to do it. Heavy gun shooting, again, that is also at medium range. That one will get 1 casualty against them. Medium gun, shooting at them. Keeps inching up, but still at long range. Not quite there yet. No boxcars, no hit. And then over here, we basically just got 1 die against each other. Looking for a natural 6 on either one. Ooh, British get 1 on the French. All right, that guy needs to make a morale check. Mark grade 2, +1 for woods, plus Native Americans in woods, -2 for 50%. He's good. And that guy needs to take a check for getting artillery. He has basically 2 morale grade, that's it. He's good. Now we are at army withdraw. Same dice as before with the French. 2 dice, minus the roll on a half die. Ooh, it's close. Close, but not quite yet. The British are going to be the same before. They're not going to need to roll yet. They're still at 30%, only at 30%. And with the captured battery and the unit en route, that kind of counteracts each other. So on to the next turn. I think it's 11. Okay. Rolling the artillery back into order. I moved the General Wolf over previous turn, so he needs a 1, 2, or 3 in order to rally. 6, he does not rally, so it'll be another route. All right, that artillery piece routed off the board. It's off board, but still in route, so it's got 1 more chance to try to rally and recover. Moving on to the control of this Native American unit here. It has a unit right in front there, so let's see if it gets angry for 1 more shot at glory. 5, it does. So it will proceed forward to try to murderate that guy. All right, range. It's going to be point blank. Just rolling a d6. Let's see if it does it. Nope, no hit. Now, real quick, this unit wanted to charge as well, so I'm going to try to make an initiative check to see if he charges. 5. No, he does not. So now we need to roll morale for him. His morale check, 1d6, 4. All right, as these guys fall back, these are going to keep coming. So that guy needs to make a morale check. It's going to be a 1d6, 2. So basically through all that, with this charge rate, comes and makes contact with him. All right, so here we are. First we're getting moved up. It's gonna hurt, but I think that's going to be what they have to do. Just gotta get up under the guns and start shooting them, even though they moved their whole movement this turn. The remnants of these units, and we're just like scraping the bottom of the barrel just to hold these woods for that guy there. And then the medium gun kind of inched up a little bit, so. All right, doing some shooting. These two units are rolling there, each with 1 die, and then back. These two units, because they both rolled natural 1s, cannot shoot for the rest of the game. Their powder's spoiled from the snow. I'm not entirely sure if I paid attention to anything else the rest of the game, but there we are for that. So those guys can't shoot, but that guy didn't shoot anything back, so that's good. Medium gun there, it's in canister range. So 5 dice. And just 1 hit. The heavy gun is going to be shooting 7 dice because it's considered point blank. Yeah, so that one got 3 hits total. Medium gun finally moved up into medium range, so with the movement it's 3 dice. That is going to be 1 hit. And the French infantry is going to fire here. We got 2 for the base, close range first fire. It's going to be 4 dice, multiples of 6s. Looks like it's going to be 2 hits. French infantry morale check, 2 for the base, plus flank, and this guy's still in range to count for rear. -1 for 25%, so 3 dice. And he's good. He doesn't have to make a morale check because he is not 25%. He does have to make a morale check, and unfortunately it's going to be 1 die, 2 base. He doesn't have flank or doesn't have rear, and he does achieve 25% casualties. So 1 die. Oof, that's a 1, so that's no bueno. French has 6 dice. French has 5 dice. Crazy, maybe they'll just wipe each other out. Be the end of it for them. That could be kind of funny. Well, it was close to mutual destruction. The French did 4 and the British, which wiped them out, but the British only did 3 back. So they get up there and they're looting the bodies. We're at the Army withdrawal check. The French actually have more casualties, but after calculating all the dice, they have no dice to roll. Coincidentally, because the number of units that are currently en route, which is 3, British have 3 dice. They would have 4 dice, but then -1 die for the artillery battery they captured, plus a half die for the loss of their leader. So the British do have to roll dice now. And in this case, the half die will add to their die roll if it's a 1, 2, or 3. Hoping for a 1 to 11 if they want to stay. British live another turn. This is the die roll for the artillery crew, the British artillery crew that's off the board. Yeah, they rally up. They become broken now. So these guys, having no choice, they can't shoot. So they're going to try to charge, but they're going to, since he's giving them an order, he's going to see if they maintain control. The first one's a yes. Second one is a yes. So now they're going to try to do their normal charge initiative. One's really low, no. And That's going to be a no as well. All right, we're finally coming around to the end of it. Movement's done. That unit stayed there. He did the gentleman thing and let the French shoot at him, so now he's going to shoot back. The Grenadiers came around the corner to basically engage with those guys, though they moved pretty much over half, so they can't fire this turn, but they will next turn. Artillery, even though I don't have it, turning to fire on him, so we'll get on with it. He doesn't need to turn, it's within arc, so he's just going to shoot. So it's going to be 6 dice, 5 for the base, 1 for close, and actually it's going to be 7 for point blank. That's just 1. All right, this medium gun is going to fire that battery, 2 dice, no hit. This battery at medium range is going to fire here. That will be 1 hit. This infantry firing here loses its first fire bonus, so it's only going to be 3 dice. Looks like it's just 1 additional hit. British are going to respond in kind. They got 2 for the base, 1 for first fire, 1 for close range, and haven't taken enough casualties to remove their platoon firing, so they get 5 dice in total. So they did 4 in total on the French to their front. All right, French minus 25%. They don't get rear support since this guy's too far out of the way. They do get flanked, so 2 dice. He's good. This British unit is down to 25%. So it's going to be 1 die. 2, I believe that's going to be a rout as well. That's crazy. This French unit has enough penalties to take it to negative, so it's just a 1d6. 2, he is going to rout as well. The only thing I think I forgot to shoot him, so he's going to shoot 1d6. 6, he gets a hit. So evens will be that guy, odds will be that guy. Evens, so 1 hit on him. So he needs to make a morale check. He's got a lot of, so he's down to 0. So he gets 1d6. 3. So that's the end of the turn. So literally the only thing that's keeping the French alive right now is the fact that they see these routing units streaming towards the rear. Otherwise they'd most assuredly be vacating the field. So they're down to 2d6 plus the half die for the leader, which will come off. So boxcars. Nope. Whereas the British have 3 dice plus a half die for the leader lost. Man. The British do not want to give up yet. They're still around. To roll him to get recover from rout needs a 1 or 2. 5, he will rout again, and we'll take him off board. He's going to try to recover, remove the token. Commander attached to him, so 1, 2, or 3. 2, he recovers. That convoluted mess, let's see if these guys rampage. No, and no. But they will try to charge them. 3, it's not going to do it. Here we have these guys here. Go ahead and give them a try to charge. Yeah, they will charge because they're morale grade 3 going in. Range. 6, so it's going to be normal range. So he's going to shoot, but he's not going to get any bonus. He's a morale grade 1. He's only got 12, so it's 1d6. 3, it does not hit. As being charged, morale grade 1, and doesn't have any flank bonuses or anything like that, so it's just a straight d6. 3, it's going to be a fallback broken. And we'll include the charges and movements, stuff like that. Basically, the only thing that really happened was this heavy battery pivoted to shoot on that guy there since he charged up. Yeah, I mean, that guy came back right here. He's gonna kind of try to run back and rejoin his lines. All right, this artillery is throwing a lot of dice at that guy. It's gonna hurt. Results in 2. This medium gun taking an extreme range shot at that guy there. Hitting boxcars. No hit. Medium battery taking a medium shot there. Looks like it's going to be 1 hit. Then to finish up, these guys taking a 1 die shot at them. Nope. All right, morale check. These guys are down to 50%. +2 for the base, +1 for flank, -2 for 50%. So they're 1d6. 2, they're going to rout. Grenadiers are also at 50%. Enemies on their flank, they're only down to 1 die. And they're going to rout. All right, so that's the end of all that. We're now to the army withdrawal phase. French have 3 dice, -1/2 die. Nope. French are sticking around. Okay, here's the British roll. Close, but no. Okay, we're going to try to see if he'll rally. Getting a 1 or a 2. 2, he does rally. This guy, if he rallies, 1, he does. And finally him, needing a 1, 2, or 3. He does not. Coming down to the end of it, I'm going to fast track this stuff. So these 2 guys, they get aggressive. Yes. And yes. All right, is he going to shoot? Point blank. Is he going to hit him? Forward, no. Needs to make a check. Morale, he's going to be 2. +1 for the woods, -2. It's going to be 1 die. 5. Halt disorganized, I believe. Yeah, halt disorganized, so these guys are bloop. Wolf is going to move back to there to try to rally him in the next. Heavy gun's going to pivot to try to fire onto there to get him kicked out. Cause more casualties. Cause him to rout once more. And then he just pivoted so that we can get a cleaner shot on the medium gun there. Heavy gun on the Grenadiers. Yeah, it's going to be 1. 2 dice on him. Nope. It's going to be 2 dice on him. Nope. So we'll do the white one first. An absurd amount of dice. And the next one. All right, so the Rangers did enough to wipe those guys out. But that one did win by 1, so we need to roll a die to see if the Rangers fall back or rout. 5, 6. Fallback, full charge move broken. The army withdraw, still the French. They still got the 3 dice and half die. Just because the damn British keep routing. That might do it, actually. So this 1 subtracts from this 4, turning it into a 3. And we got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 just does it because the French had more casualties. They rolled first. The French withdraw. The British do capture the territory. But I'll do some post-battle stuff here real quick, and I'll get back to you. All right, after rolling for people en route to see if they came back and all that, in total, the British took 64 casualties, which equates to 32 casualties once you have it because the numbers were double. So 32 casualties. Of those 32, 14 came from regular SP, 5 came from Colonial. The French had 78, of which 39, that equates to 39. And of that 39, 8 came from regular and 6 came from Colonial. So now what we need to do is roll to see how those casualties round off. So the English lose 1 regular SP for sure. So that leaves 2 remainders. So, and it's poor medical, so it's gonna be a -2 to the die roll. And basically, if we get a 4 or less, then it rounds up to 2 regular SP. All right, so -2, that was a 7. 7 -2 goes to 5. That is higher than the remainder, so there's only -1 regular SP. Now with the Colonial, they lose any Colonials. And that brings it to 9, which is more than that, and so they do not lose any Colonial SP. The French, it's not guaranteed they're going to lose any SP right now. There's 8. That's 11, brings it to 9, which is more, so no regular SP loss. And the Colonial, that's 7, goes to 5, so they will lose their Colonial SP, -1 Colonial SP. Now, normally you would say, hey, we do retreat fire based on Native American troops, but there's literally none left. Like out of total, there are 3 negative American castings out of 5 units. So they got butchered. So yeah, England will hold Lower Canada with 1 regular SP and 2 Colonial SP. And then France will be retreating from Lower Canada to Upper Canada with 1 regular SP. The Colonial SP having been destroyed. So that's in the battle. Dragon for me, I'm sure probably Dragon for a little bit for you, but I think it was worth actually fighting it out to the bitter end just because there was the potential there that even though it was looking like the French were definitely going to lose, it's definitely the possibility a couple of times that could have been the British retreating. So there we go. That's it. Talk to y'all next time.